Hello and welcome back to Season 10 of the AOR F1 League with PC Split 1. We're at the Circuit de Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix and 5th round of this championship. My name is Justin, and joining me once again, it's Alex.
Hello everyone, yes, looking forward to this race. It's not always a track that necessarily lends itself to lots of overtaking, but with very high tyre and that long main straight, hopefully we'll see some good action today.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Of course, a popular testing track. Last time out, it was the American in the Caterham who took the checkered flag as Cool Cat grabbed his first victory of the season, becoming the 4th different winner in as many races, with Ycoms in the Marussia less than a second behind. Taking the final podium position was Marco FD after a penalty in qualifying dropped him to last position at the start of the race. He fought through the field and grabbed 15 well-deserved championship points. Championship contender Hamish could only manage 10 points in Bahrain, so Marco extended his championship lead, currently sitting on 76 points to Hamish's 54, while the Marussias are still a threat with Klawutzke on 45 points and Ycoms on 42 points, also putting them just 4 points behind Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. That's how things look heading into the race. Let's kick off this weekend's festivities, starting with the qualifying report.
The first European race of AOR Season 10 brings us to the Circuit de Catalunya for a qualifying comparison between Klawutzke and Posses, both German drivers, as they head into turn 1. Breaking down, Klawutzke in 2nd, Posses in 3rd gear as they both head into turn 2 and then respectively the uphill turn 3, where it's very easy to run wide, and both drivers managed to do this very good. Into turn 4, before the Fly Emirates sign, you can see Klawutzke's slightly ahead as they both go up the hill. Again, a fast left-hander, both now into turn 5 here, and Posses takes a little more inside line there and a little more access curve as well. Klawutzke is a little more tightly through there. Then we have corners 7 and 8 respectively, and then into turn 9 now. You can see Klawutzke is still at least a second ahead of Posses by now, as they both have an interval here, you can see, and now they break down for the hairpin. Posses takes a little better the apex here, but Klawutzke is still ahead as they go up the hill through this complex, the final part of the track, and also the most tricky part in my opinion. Turn 13 now, and then the chicane, turns 14 and 15. They both take a pretty nice exit there. Klawutzke has nicely on the curves, it doesn't unsettle the car, and they go over the line. Klawutzke's perspective lap time is a 17.8, Posses is 18.3, and Marco FD takes the pole with a 17.280 for this week. And now it's back to the commentators booth with Justin and Alex.
So it is our championship leader, Marco FD, that takes pole position by over half a second ahead of his one-time teammate Hamish Sopwith in the Toro Rosso. In 3rd position, it is Klawutzke in that Marussia, threatening the top 2 once again. Cool Cat with another good qualifying result in 4th position for the American for Caterham. Fissler in 5th position is the lead Red Bull. His teammate Honey Badger down in 8th position, but on the hard prime tires. Klawutzke's teammate Ycoms down in 6th position, just ahead of the 2nd Toro Rosso of Nicky FD. Posses for McLaren Mercedes in 9th position, and Titan of Racing for Williams rounding out the top 10. And bringing up the rear of the grid, we've got Magnussen, the rear McLaren driver for today's race, in 11th after failing to set a time in what was a mixed conditions qualifying, actually. Lucas Schumacher in the Williams as well, failing to set a time, and Double D, as we saw in the side-by-side qualifying, actually disconnecting from qualifying. So none of the drivers in the outside the top 10 setting a time in qualifying. Now let's head to the grid for the race. Here we are on the grid at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. I'm not so good with the Spanish list, to be totally honest. Marco FD on pole position, your championship leader as it stands right now, heading into this 5th round of the championship. We've got 12 cars on the grid. Unfortunately, Double D in the Ferrari losing out in qualifying, disconnecting, and unable to rejoin. There's Ycoms sitting behind Cool Cat, the winner of the last race in Bahrain, and what a race it was. As we're preparing now for the lights to come on. Very long drag down to turn 1. You think Marco can hold on to it?
Well, he certainly need a good start, and if he gets an amazing start even, he can get a lot of slipstreams, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yep, 4 lights now, 5 lights. Fissler going up into Rich Mix as the lights are out and the cars are away. It looks like a great start for Hamish. Not so much for Cool Cat. Cool Cat has had a pretty terrible start. He's dropped down below Fissler, down into 5th position as we head into turn number 1. And this could get very, very interesting for a lot of drivers. Ycoms and Nicky FD both running off the circuit. Passes being pushed into one of the Williams cars. I'm not sure who that was. Ycoms trying to rejoin the circuit and having some trouble in doing so. Magnussen now right behind Passes. Titan of Racing side by side with Passes as well. And it looks like Magnussen is going to try and grab a position off of Lucas Schumacher here with the inside line for turn number 4, and he has done so successfully, I believe. Yes, he has. And Nicky FD now coming under threat from Magnussen. Both of those drivers on the option tires, the medium white wall tires. The only driver currently out, as far as I know, on the primes is going to be Honey Badger, although Magnussen and Lucas Schumacher did both have the option of going onto the primes. They are on the options. Lucas and Nicky coming to blows a little bit there through the uphill turn number 9. Hamish still holding on to that second place position, as is Klawutzke. In fact, the top 3 all in the positions that they started in, and it looks like Marco FD already building a pretty healthy gap as Hamish goes very wide through turn 13. That's going to put him all out of line as he heads into the chicane, and that's going to put the Marussia of Klawutzke all over the back of him. No DRS yet, but Klawutzke is going to get an almighty slipstream here.
Yeah, absolutely. Lost a lot of slipstream down this long back straight here. As I now look at Magnussen and have a little look at Fissler. As you said about all the slipstream, mind you, you're not even going to need it. I think it might be a difference perhaps in wing level. Did he have some curves I didn't see? No, it can't be a wing level difference because now looks like Fissler's having another go at him, and Lucas is going to try and have both of them into turn 1. They're going to make it side by side, not quite 3 abreast. Just going to take the 1 position. They're not going to be too greedy about it, and nice move there, pretty textbook. But Fissler has lots of oversteer on the exit turn 1. Going to compromise him heavily, and actually that ends up compromising Lucas more than anyone. Nicky takes the position straight back. And, or rather, it comes through. Nicky was behind both of them, actually, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. So there's Nicky taking 2 positions there, looking for a 3rd position here on Fissler. He might be able to do it, give him a little bit of a shove there. He's going to be the outside into the next corner, though. Can he do it? He's brake quite conservative there. Fissler's a little bit of contact there. Lucas looks like he's got his eye on another position here. Not quite going to work out there, and looks like Nicky's gone back again. So, actually, there's only 1 position gain for Nicky there, and I believe 1 lost for Fissler, was it? I think. And,
yes.
Lucas having a look at Titan now, or Fissler rather. Getting confused with these names already. It's not a good start, is it? And they're side by side now coming down the long back straight, and see who can outbrake them. So Fissler, lots of contact though, lots and lots of contact. That's pushed Lucas very, very wide indeed, and that's going to cost him lots and lots of times and lots of positions. Joins the track there, I think 2nd from last there.
Yep.
So certainly not an ideal start for him as we're on board now with Hamish.
Yeah, and look at the gap to Marco FD. It is absolutely enormous. I mean, he's already passing the start-finish line as they're just coming out of turn number 16. Klawutzke with a great run out of the final corner. DRS is activated, but of course the detection line before the start-finish line, so no DRS just yet. But of course, drivers within 1 second of the car ahead will be getting access to that DRS outside after turn number 9. Marco FD setting the fastest lap of the race with a 1:21.0. which is a very quick lap time considering that's only the 2nd lap. That's very good stuff from Marco FD. Let's have a replay here. Alex, talk us through this as we're on board with Klawutzke.
Yeah, so pretty good start from Klawutzke. They're pretty similar to Marco and Hamish. Marco gets a slightly better start, gets a bit of a run which he needed because of all the slipstream. Taking this very long run down to the 1st turn. Gets a bit of contact from behind there, but manages to keep on track, or even more contact there, but managed to keep on track, so pretty good stuff from him there, managing to hold on to the position. Of course, Ycoms now, we're on board, looking on the outside in P6. We saw him off the track, and he just gets completely shoved. Decides to take the inside line there, and not really a lot you could have done about that, but when you're outside, and there's so many drivers around, you've got to be careful, and he just ran himself straight off the track, and then he's been pushed even further off the track, took apart his front wing as well, and that's rotten luck there for Ycoms, really. Perhaps he could have avoided most of that, but still a bit of bad luck. And Fissler has a big spin. Big spin on the end of the 1st lap there then. And a little bit of contact there, but no damage. So that's lost him a couple of positions. Magnussen now, once again, this is lap 2 now. As Nicky FD comes right across the front of him there. So just managing to miss him there and keep all of his front wings. So, pardon me, pretty fortunate stuff there for him. And Ycoms still in last position on lap 3.
Yep, yeah, and Ycoms, no surprise really that he's down in last position after seeing all the contact and issues that he was having on lap number 1. He is not far behind Lucas Schumacher, and he is on the option tires, and Lucas is outside of the DRS range of the car ahead of him, so he could possibly start making up some positions potentially. Fizzler going side by side with Titan of Racing and actually just moving straight past him through that turn 11 kind of kink area. Magnussen now eyeballing that same position off of Titan of Racing. Can he do it at the inside of turn number 13? He's still side by side heading into the chicane. Titan of Racing with the inside line, no surprise, takes it through there, but Magnussen with a way better exit. He's got tons of curves, using grass even that's beyond the curbing, uses all of his curves, gets the DRS, but unfortunately for him, the Williams of Titan of Racing getting the DRS off of the car ahead of him as well. Hamish now running behind Klawutzke. Klawutzke, of course, started in 3rd position, now up into 2nd position after making that move coming out of the final corner on Hamish, but it looks like Hamish is on for a pretty quick lap here. He's at minus half a second over his previous lap, so he's got a set of purple first sector. Possis in the McLaren is up a number of positions, up into 5th position after starting in 9th position, so he is doing quite well. Pretty far back from Cool Cat. I don't believe he is within DRS range, according to my eye, as we move on board with Marco FD coming into the very, very heavy braking zone at the hairpin of turn number 10. 3.9 seconds is the current gap to Klawutzke, and we're not even 4 laps through this race, so on average, he's actually more than a second a lap faster than the rest of the cars. Granted, he's one of the few guys that has not had to do any sort of side-by-side battling, but Marco he is on fire today.
Yeah, really impressive stuff there. If you can keep that up, it'll be an easy win. Is looking at Magnus and have a look at Titan there. Bit of contact, that's always going to happen to that corner, really. It's not really cool. You want to be side by side. Titan just takes the. Just now, wonder if he got a penalty for that, because that's a big, big corner. I hope he didn't, because well, he has certainly taken advantage actually from that, hasn't he? Because he stayed a long, long way ahead there. It looks like Klawutzke's already into the pits then, coming on at the end of lap 4 that was. So quite early on, going straight to their prime tyres. As I said, this is a very high tyre wear track. They've been so high speed. It really does burn the tyres. We've seen Klawutzke coming quite early. We'll see if he can make up any positions, make up any time rather on Marco ahead. Coming in very early. There's Fisser and Titan are side by side. They're coming through turn 3, which you don't want to be doing. Magnussen's going to make it 3 abreast into turn 4 then. This should be interesting how this turned out. He decided to back out of that. That's probably the sensible decision there. Someone, probably Titan, would have ended up in the gravel, so probably the right thing to do. But Titan is still alongside Fisser. Lots of battle in there. A bit of a wheel banging. And you'd expect Titan to take a position, but we'll see. Fisser might get the better exit on the outside. Looks like Magnussen's all over them once again. And he just takes the 1 position, I think. Yes, he's going to settle for 1. But back on the outside comes Fisser then. Having a little look. Didn't quite work out, though. And that is the position now safe for Magnussen. So pretty impressive racing there, Justin.
Yep, and Titan, of course, not going to be getting DRS here, while Magnussen did, and he's going to move to the inside line for the turn 10 hairpin, and going to try and outbrake Titan of Racing. Can he do so? Yes, he has with that inside line. Easily moves up into 6th position. Great job from Magnussen, who, just to remind the viewers, started from 11th position, now up into 6th. Pretty hefty gap, though, between 5th and 6th, as we can see on the mini-map down at the bottom left. Lots of cars heading into the pits now. We've got Marco into the pits. We also, I believe, had Nicky FD, and I think Hamish possibly as well into the pits. Honey Badger is into the pits. I think Cool Cat into the pits. Ycoms heading into the pits now. Klawutzke opting to stay out because he already pit, of course. So he is going to continue on and grab a number of positions in the pit lane. Going back to the pit strategy and all that, Alex, the high tire wear, you got to imagine that pretty much all the drivers are going to be on a 3-stop here today. And with how early Klawutzke stopped, I've got to imagine that he's going for an option prime strategy, right?
Yeah, you'd thought so. Only 5 laps on the options. That's not very long at all. So we'll see how long these primes last. But I'd imagine the prime would probably be the better race tyre, just because the tyre is just so high around this track.
And I guess we could see Honey Badger going for a late race option stint, since he started the race on the prime. So Honey Badger we could see. Of course, he's in the lead of the race right now. No surprise there, as he was the only person to start on the primes. Magnussen doing his best to try and catch up to him, but after 5 laps of racing at Catalunya, I've got to imagine that actually the primes are currently the faster tire versus the mediums after racing 5 laps on each of those. I would imagine that Honey Badger is probably actually pulling away from, I believe that was Magnussen. On board with Lucas Schumacher, who I believe also has not made his stop just yet. So he's Marco FD is actually a pit stop ahead of some of the drivers, and Magnussen does come into the pits. Oh, gosh! That is not the way you want to be coming in. Yeah, he's got a big flat tire and also lost his entire front wing, so that's going to be a very slow pit stop for him.
lucky not to destroy his car, actually. That very easily can destroy the car. I think that's happened to quite a few people. I'm not sure if I've ever done it, actually. I think I've managed to get away with not ever destroying my car in a race doing that, but I've certainly seen lots of drivers do it. So quite a slow pit stop, 5.6 seconds for him there. And I think his tyres were very destroyed at the end. I certainly saw Lucas Schumacher there struggling like mad for grip on that in lap. So I think perhaps they went one lap too far. I think lap 6 is probably the optimal lap to pit on. They probably stayed out a little bit too long on that 7, cost them both a little bit of time on that in-lap there. And Ycoms, unfortunately for him, still in last position, P12. He has made his pit stop, so he is now on the prime tyres. He's quite close to Magnussen here, but he's still in last position, so we'll see if he can make up much time. Of course, he did have that damaged front wing on his first stint, so we'll let him off a little bit, so we'll see how far he can get through this race.
I would say he's closer to the pack than he was prior to the pit stop, so I do believe Ycoms is making up positions. He was only 0.8 of a second off of Marco FD in qualifying, and was putting in very similar times in qualifying compared to Fizzler, Cool Cat, and that sort of range. Quite a bit faster than Nicky FD and Honey Badger. Of course, Honey Badger was on the primes though, so Honey Badger, could be kind of a dark horse in this race. We could see him spying a podium position, I think. We're on board with Hamish now, switching to the car behind him. Passes running behind Hamish right now in 5th position. Cool Cat not far behind as they go through their chicane, navigate their way through that Mickey Mouse section at the end of the lap. Passes definitely wants to be keeping an eye on Cool Cat. He does get DRS off of Hamish ahead, so that's good. Cool Cat sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:20.9, so Cool Cat is really kicking it up a notch right now. He has lost a couple of positions in all of this hectic racing that we've had here in Spain. He's down to 6th after starting from 4th position, and it looks like Lucas now coming under attack from Magnussen, and Ycoms actually not far behind this battle between the McLaren and the Williams. Magnussen not able to get the move done heading into turn number 1. As we switch on board with him, he takes a much tighter line through turn number 3. Is he going to be able to make it side by side into turn number 4? No, he's not. Maybe should have used a little bit of KERS even there to try and force the situation and try and get that job done. Interesting, very tight line at the exit of turn number 4 there, as I believe he was trying to stay out of the dirty air effect from the car ahead. So that was some interesting driving from him. Marco FD now just less than 4 seconds off of Honey Badger, who has yet to stop. You've got to imagine Honey Badger probably going to be thinking about stopping pretty soon, especially because, big slide for Hamish. That's going to put him off the circuit, and that's going to put him under threat from Passes as well. Passes now right behind him, and he's definitely going to get a great opportunity heading into turn number 1. He's not even going to wait for turn number 1, though. He's just going to take Hamish through the chicane at the exit of it, and I think he's going to get DRS, too, if I'm not mistaken. He uses a little bit of KERS. He does not get DRS. I don't think either of these cars got DRS, which means Cool Cat could be making up a couple of positions here, as he definitely would have gotten DRS in the background there. He's all over the back of Hamish. Hamish all over the back of Passes, trying to make it side by side through turn number 3. Switches back to the inside line, a bit of bumping going on between the two of them. That's a very bright sun reflection as well in that Toro Rosso. And Cool Cat actually keeping his Cool Cat and opting not to make it 3 wide or anything like that. I think he's just waiting for something to... You like that one?
Did that really just happen in an actual video? That you really pulled that off. Amazing. We see Magnussen, they're taking out Lucas, unfortunately. They're braking a little bit too late, just pushing him straight off the circuit. So not ideal by him there, and he's having to wait, and he just lost another position as well. So fortunately, this was here Ycoms. It's actually Ycoms that come through, and does he take Lucas? I don't think he does. No, he doesn't. But he does take 1 free position. So that was certainly how Ycoms were now having a look at him. Look at Lucas Schumacher into the first turn, managed to outbrake him just about, and pretty textbook there. If he can hold it, and he'll be on the inside line for this next corner, that should be moved done. Looks like it is indeed. So Ycoms out of 2 positions, and looks like Lucas is side by side with Magnussen here. Going to try and squeeze on the apex there. Couldn't quite manage. He couldn't quite get his car in there. But he will have the inside line for the next corner, so he should. Looks like he's got no front wing though. Magnussen, I assume he has, because he would not have that much grip if he didn't have a front wing. So they're still side by side though. Magnussen and Lucas are having a really good battle, but once again Lucas is going to have the inside line. In fact, he doesn't give many room on the outside there, so he must have already been ahead of him, and manages to keep the position there. I'm seeing Hamish up into P4. Yeah, he keeps making a lot of mistakes this race, doesn't he? Using a lot of his KERS, trying to defend from Cool Cat, who's going very fast from behind. And looks like he can have a little look inside. There's certainly some lag. Oh, big shove there. We're lucky to get out the barrier. He managed to do it because of the gravel though. Big shove. I think that was mostly lag. You saw even when he looked behind, there was quite a big lag going on. But he's come straight to the racing line, and that is not okay. And once again, that was all Hamish's fault. They should not have just come straight back to the racing line. They're in a high-speed corner. That is not the way to do things. And he's going to be slow. Ycoms is actually even going to take him. So Hamish has gone from P4 down to what will now be P10, presuming that Ycoms nails his braking point, which he does indeed. So Hamish has lost a lot of time there, and a lot of positions as well. Might even lose another one here. Lucas is going to look at him, but lots of pushing in bumping. I think again, once again, a bit of lag there. And oh, Lucas is upgrading himself though. Hamish should probably dive back at the inside. And here he comes. And made the move stick there. And looks like Magnus is going to take him as well. So quite costly for Lucas there. And yes, I think most of that was Hamish's fault, to be honest. I mean, he did get a bit of lag hit. Couldn't do much about that in turn 1, but then coming straight back into the racing line like that, I mean, he deserved to get taken out, and I just hope that no one got front wing damage after that, because that was a very dangerous move, something you don't like to see in league races at all. But let's put Klawutzke up to P2 at least, though, so he's certainly gained from that.
Oh yeah, Klawutzke has definitely won out as a result of that.
He's already ahead, actually, wasn't he? I believe, actually. Sorry, Klawutzke was already ahead.
Oh yes, he made the overtake at the end of lap 1 or 2. That's right. I forgot as well. But yeah, I didn't see any carbon fiber flying or anything like that when he got hit, so I don't think anybody lost. And are we seeing anybody in the pits? No, we're not seeing anybody going into the pits as well, so it looks like everything's okay. But yeah, Hamish is going to lose that final point-paying position to Magnussen, who moves himself up into 10th position. Ycoms taking off into the distance. No surprise there, as he was a couple of tenths quicker than Titan of Racing and Possus and Honey Badger, all of those guys in qualifying. So no surprise that Ycoms is slowly moving his way back up the field towards some of the closer or higher up cars. You can see a pretty big gap. That final 4, looking at the mini-map, they're just heading into turn number 5 right now, and then it's a pretty big gap to the next car up ahead, so that's the gap that Ycoms needs to negotiate. We're not even a third of the way through this race just yet, though, so Ycoms has plenty of opportunity as we're on board with the Marussia driver right now, heading up the hill towards turn number 9 now, with Magnussen not far behind him, so Magnussen definitely doing a good job. Of course, we didn't see what sort of time he set in qualifying. He did not actually set a time. He moves up to the inside of Ycoms at the turn number 10 hairpin, and it looked like he has not been able to make the move. Ycoms defends the position very well. Magnussen, though, shoots up the inside of turn number 12, even using the grass. He's going to have the inside for turn number 13, but yeah, Ycoms, I think, had the right idea. I think you actually want to be at the outside line for turn number 13, because then you get the inside line for the chicane, and you really can't overtake around the outside at the chicane. Magnussen had a terrible exit out of the chicane there. That's way too much curb, way too much grass. He had to lift off the throttle there, and that's going to lose him tons of time to Ycoms up ahead, even though he was the one that got DRS in the situation. Hamish coming under attack now from Lucas. That's how bad the race has been for Hamish. He is now under threat from the driver in last position. Ycoms still coming under threat from Magnussen as well. These guys really need to stop battling if they want to have any chance of getting higher up than 9th position, though. If these guys continue just going side by side, there's no way they're going to catch the car in 8th position, whoever that might be at this current moment. But Ycoms once again defends the position successfully from the McLaren driver as they head through the S now of turns 7 and 8 and up the hill, and this is, I mean, it's a 4-way battle for 9th position. That's some pretty intense racing.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, for 9th position, they're not doing themselves any favours at all, and there might be some contact here. There's certainly lots of lag. Hamish is having a dive up the inside there. Very risky stuff. 3 breaths into that corner, and he was still trying to stick up the inside, and looks like he's going to end up not actually gaining anything, and again, lots and lots of lag there. Magnussen lagging all over the place, and it's incredibly frustrating when you're playing someone who's lagging like that, because you don't know where they really are. You know, suddenly they can hit you, while Hamish had it earlier in the race. You can get hit off so easily, and it's just so hard to try and give them space or try and overtake him. It just makes it so difficult. And Ycoms there managed to stay ahead. You'd assume Ycoms has the better pace. Perhaps Hamish might have a bit better pace than him, but Ycoms out-qualified most of these guys because, of course, you have the incident in turn 1. So Hamish should, in theory, though, be able to be faster than these guys, who should be overtaking them and moving up the road, you'd think, but he seems to be struggling quite a lot for consistency and also a bit of battling. He seems to be doing so well at battling this race. And looks like Magnussen takes a nice easy position for Ycoms there. And a bit of DRS here from Lucas against Hamish. Actually, Hamish could end up last position from being P4 not too many laps ago. And looks like he backs out of it quite early there. So Hamish is now indeed in last position from P4 only, what, 2 or 3 laps ago, Justin? It wasn't very long ago, I don't think. So a bit of a horrible race for him. We'll see how far he can battle up. Like I said, he has certainly got decent pace, so we'll see if we can battle up through the grid any further.
Now, Possus, this is very interesting. Possus is now in 3rd position. And he started from 9th position, actually. He barely managed a 118.3, I believe it was, in qualifying. So Possus now into a podium position. He's coming under attack from Honey Badger, who is the car behind, as they head into turn number 1. Klawutzke into the pits earlier than most. Hamish as well into the pits, and that was something I was going to bring up, actually. That rear 4, the 4 guys that were battling for 9th position, I was going to say I would fully imagine. Okay. That's an interesting choice from Hamish. He's decided to check out his Steam page. Oh, and he's being held as well. So Hamish's race goes from bad to worse. He's had a horribly slow pit stop. That is not what you want to be doing there. I don't even think we got to see the pit stop time, though, unfortunately, because he had the race director up. Pass is now up into second position as a result of Klawutzke's early pit stop, I believe. Honey Badger still all over the back of him. Passes did start on the options. Honey Badger did start on the prime, so that would mean actually that Honey Badger has the fresher tires right now, and he uses those fresher tires to great effect at the turn 10 hairpin as Passes locked up a little bit there, and he just shot up the inside and took that position, no problems there. Lucas now getting very feisty behind Ycoms. He's going to be possibly pressuring him coming out of the final corner and heading into turn 1. Really not much chance for overtaking in Sector 3 of Catalunya. Not a whole lot to do there. We have seen some drivers try to prove otherwise, though. And Klawutzke now, is he going to get in front of Coolcat? Yes, he's definitely going to get in front of Coolcat, no problem there. But is he going to get in front of Marco? No, he's not. Marco is handily still ahead in the lead, despite Klawutzke pitting earlier. He really has not gained much on him. And actually, we haven't seen much of Marco recently. And I guess that's just because he's been kind of off driving on his own. And another driver gets held in the pits.
Yeah, a bit of a shame there. It's difficult with this game. They're quite bad at trying to stack cars. I mean, you get a slow pit stop as well. You saw that 5.5 second stop as well, so not ideal. And yeah, like I say, we haven't seen much of Marco, but that's always good as a driver. You know, as boring as it is, you know, you want to do it every race, but it is quite nice to have a race where you're just out in front, leading from the front, from P1, and just lead into the whole race, out the front the whole time.
How does that
take
feel?
A nice easy way.
Because I don't know about that.
I was just going to say, yeah, you probably don't know. No, it is, like I say, you don't want it all the time, but it is a good feeling just to be able to do that. You know, you feel like, even though you feel a little bit bored, but you feel like you have had a good day, you've had a good race, you know, you've driven flawlessly. Particularly when he's got someone like Klawutzke only 3.5 seconds back from just over, so he can't relax at all. He's still got to keep pushing, but if he can keep that sort of gap, he'll have no problem defending from Klawutzke. But Klawutzke seems to be pitting one lap earlier than him at the minute, which could perhaps cost him later in the race when he's got to do one extra lap on a set of tyres, probably in the last stint, you'd imagine. Looks like drivers are doing about 8 or 9 laps or so on the primes. These guys are doing more like 10 laps actually, so they can do sort of 10, yeah, they only do about 9 laps or so, 9:27, yeah, but they used to do about 9 laps on average on a set of primes. They could probably do 8, 9, 10 or something on the primes, somewhere around there, and they'll be fine. Looks like Magson's coming to the pits then, so this looks like a pretty popular lap to pit on. Klawutzke's got a new fastest lap with his fresh tyres, still not quite into the 19s though, just a 1:20.0 for him.
Yeah, Magnussen coming out of the pits. Where is he going to feed out? Is he going to be ahead of Ycoms? That would be very interesting, actually, if he ended up ahead of Ycoms. Ycoms is coming down the straight right now, and it does look like he is going to have to hold out. Now, Magnussen wouldn't be carrying very much speed through this chicane as a result of coming out of the pit, so Ycoms could be threatening him into turns number 3 and 4 potentially. Marco FD now in second position, but of course Honey Badger has yet to make his second stop, so that's why Honey Badger currently in the lead of this race. The gap to the car ahead for Marco is 5.5 seconds, but I do imagine we'll be seeing Honey Badger coming in very shortly within a few laps or so, probably between lap 17 and 19, something like that. I think you were right about that, Alex. You know, doing like 8 laps in your first stint with the primes, then 9, then 10, as of course the track begins to rubber in. Hamish and Ycoms doing battle once again, and Lucas Schumacher has dropped off. Oh, Hamish has broken DRS though. That's very interesting. It doesn't seem to have affected him too much. Oh, he's just really muscling Ycoms out. There's some contact between them. Ycoms ends up off the circuit and in the grass. I'm not sure what happened there. That was a very strange incident. I don't know. That was very, very strange. Once again, Hamish running very wide at turn number 13, nearly running off the circuit. Nicely through the chicane, though. I haven't seen too many people. Obviously, the turn 14, 15 chicane, an easy place to corner cut, and we've seen people behaving themselves relatively well. Coolcat now on the offensive on Passes. Is he going to get the inside line for turn number 4? Yes, he does. Outbrakes Passes ever so slightly, and then unfortunately just can't carry the speed to maintain that position, so Passes does hold on to that 4th place position. What is essentially 3rd, though, because again, Honey Badger hasn't stopped yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just got an interesting trend I'm noticing here. I mentioned a couple of races ago that these new generation drivers are quite aggressive. But actually, I'm noticing that they, you know, when you first start league racing, it's natural to be quite cautious and overly cautious. But they seem to be. I was just there because Coolcat backed out of it quite easily on the inside line, which he probably didn't need to do that position probably should have been his. He's having a look up the inside here. And I'm finding it interesting now that they seem to be adapting a little bit better. They're not feeling the pressure so much. I think they're happy to squeeze drivers a little bit more without taking it too far over the limit, you know. So yes, they seem to be a race closer, but also fairer and harder at the same time. Now all these drivers are getting used to league racing a little bit better, also getting used to each other, and you know, you learn each driver and how aggressive each driver is. So interesting trend I'm just noticing there, Justin.
And in addition to Hamish's broken DRS, it appears that Passes has a broken KERS. So he's got no KERS with which to defend his 4th place position. Again, what is a net 3rd place position. So Passes in a difficult position going up against Coolcat without that KERS. You can see it there at the bottom right. No KERS for him. So Coolcat has every opportunity, and I believe, it's been a while since I played F1 2013, but I believe he would have had some radio communication from his engineer telling him that the car ahead does not have working KERS. Am I wrong about that?
I think you usually do. Yeah, I can't remember. Again, it's been a while since I've really played this game, but yeah, I think you're right. I think you do get some sort of radio call to tell him that his KERS is broken.
And there goes Marco up the inside of our quote-unquote race leader, Honey Badger. Again, he had not made his 2nd stop. Coming to the end of lap number 18, I expect Honey Badger is going to be in relatively soon, either this lap or the next lap, I would imagine. And are we going to see him in the rear view mirror heading into the pit lane? No, he's too far off. Couldn't really tell. Going to try and use the mini-map. Yes, I believe he's into the pits, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is definitely into the pits. So Honey Badger makes his 2nd pit stop, I assume, for another set of the Prime tires. Lucas Schumacher now beginning to close up on Ycoms, actually. So after that contact between Ycoms and Hamish, he has really started to drop off. Lucas just about within DRS range of the Marussia ahead of him. If he can have a really phenomenal Sector 3 here, then he could possibly pick up DRS off the Marussia and really close in that gap. He'll be way too far back to actually consider any sort of overtake into turn number 1, but he could possibly pick up DRS. He goes up into Richbix. Passes has gotten his KERS issue fixed, so he is able now to more effectively defend the position from Coolcat. Coolcat is going to try the same move, though, once again with the inside line into turn number 4. But once again, Passes with the better exit, and now with the inside line heading into the downhill turn number 5 is going to defend that position. And actually, is that a Toro Rosso that's beginning to join in on that fight? I think that might have been Nicky FD possibly. Hamish, of course, down in 10th, so I think Nicky FD might be beginning to threaten the podium position people. Magnuson trying to catch up to Titan of Racing, who is currently locked in battle with a couple of cars, actually. This appears to be the battle for 5th position, if I'm not mistaken. Just ahead of him, you can see those 3 cars in close position. Yeah, okay, no, that's Nicky FD and Titan of Racing and I think Fissler, if I'm not mistaken, or is that Honey Badger? I'm not sure where Honey Badger fed out after his pit stop, actually. But again, Pass is still successfully defending from Coolcat behind. This is very surprising. Coolcat seems to be struggling a lot with getting by Passes.
Yeah, absolutely, and Passes qualified quite low down. Passes did an 18.3 in quali, whereas Coolcat did an 18.0, so good few tenths there. It looks like Passes has, Coolcat rather, has a dive at the inside there, managed to take position. Looks like Honey Badger's going to have a look. I think it's Honey Badger, or is it?
Yeah.
It is Honey Badger. Look at that, steaming straight through, and with his fresh tyres. I think he's even going to look at Coolcat, and is that Prime tyres he's on? I assume it would be Prime tyres. Yeah, it looks like Prime tyres to me for Honey Badger. So Honey Badger with his fresh tyres is going to make a very good use of him. And now put him up to P3 then, if he can overtake here. He's going to have a look on the inside, but contact there. He's going to have to wait. Yep, and Passes is going to be his best day in the league. 2 free positions and straight up into a podium paying position, I believe. So nice and easy for him there. So it'll be interesting to see if they can battle back and have good enough pace. But Passes should have fairly decent pace. It's only 3/10, so it wasn't a massive amount that difference between Coolcat and Passes in quali. So we'll see if they can get close again. But Honey Badger will be ruining that there. I bet he couldn't believe his luck when he started an alternative strategy. Started down in P8, looking like battling for a podium, and now he's got all that work to do again. Got another few seconds to gain back, so we'll see if he can get anywhere near a podium position now after starting obviously solo down on his Prime tyres. And Magnuson now have a look at Titan, and looks like that's move done then. Titan, I'm not sure if he just ran wide though. He's starting to struggle with tyre wear perhaps, but didn't look like the best, and he's can't really tell in the mirror too much, but warning for a corner cut there. And Titan certainly lost position either way, and looks like he's holding on to him. Oh yes, he's holding on to him reasonably well, so I think it just must have been a bit of a mistake for Titan there. As no, I think they'll all get DRS now. It's pretty close here, battle for P6 I believe it is. And Ycoms still back in P11, and I think, has he pit twice now?
Yes.
Twice, so he's only got 1 more pit stop to go then, so we'll see, again, it'll be interesting to see where he can work his way up to. I respect Ycoms quite a lot, I know he's got pretty decent pace, so yes, we'll see where he ends up, Justin.
Ever since he got hit by Hamish, he's really been struggling. He appears to have all of his front wing, as far as I can tell from the angle that we've got. But yeah, ever since that contact with Hamish at the beginning of Sector 3 on whatever lap that was, he's really started to drop off. Over 5 seconds now is the gap to Hamish, and I believe Ycoms might actually have the exact same tire life, if I'm not mistaken. Hamish, though, is now beginning to pressure Fissler. Wow, that is not an easy phrase to say, pressure Fissler, for that 8th place position, and the cars ahead actually starting to break away a little bit, so he's going to have to try and get by Fissler as quickly as he can. I don't believe Fissler is going to get DRS here. He might not even need the DRS, though, as he gets a great run out of the turn 7 and 8 chicane, gets the inside line for turn number 9, and if I'm not mistaken, he's going to get DRS as well. Magnussen trying to make a move around the outside of the turn number 10 hairpin on Nicky FD, who is doing very well in 6th position. We haven't seen loads of Nicky FD, but he is doing very well just outside the top 5. Currently in 6th position. Cool Cat up ahead. I was mentioning earlier the gap between 5th and 6th, and that has actually began to come down a little bit as this race has progressed. Also, we did have a quick look at Klawutzke not too long ago and saw his gap to Marco, which was about 4.4 seconds at the time that I saw it. Which is a little bit less, actually. So I'm not sure if Klawutzke has upped his pace and is actually closing in on Marco, or if possibly Marco is just taking it easy, really looking after his tires. Oh, and Titan, Nicky FD has run right off the circuit there. Or was that Titan and Nicky took the position?
Oh, I didn't see, actually.
I think that was Titan. I think Titan lost out at turn 1, and Nicky FD was able to take the position. Back on board with the race leader, though, let's actually see if we can see what the gap is. It was, again, 4.4 seconds last time I saw it. It is now 6.3 seconds, so Marco has responded to Klawutzke, and it looks like he's coming into the pits now for his final stop of the race.
Yeah, it was actually 3.6 seconds when they came out of the pits last time, so in this whole stint he's gained quite a few seconds then, which will make him feel pretty good, and now we just have one more stint to go. It looks like he probably got a better tyre wear, judged on the fact he's gained, if you saw the gaps right, he gained a couple of seconds in the last lap or two, so that's pretty impressive stuff, and that's what tyre wear can do for you. But don't forget that Klawutzke, if he's pitting on the same lap as him here, he would have just done one extra lap on that stint, so that would make sense. So we mentioned earlier about at one point you'll have to do an extra lap on a stint, well he's just done it. So now they're going to be on equal terms for the final stint, so it was 6.3 I think it was, wasn't it? So interesting to see if that changes at all over this final stint. We can get a real feel for these guys' pace, because they're quite way clear of the pack now, I believe. Of course they will come out into a little bit of traffic, but won't be long till that's cleared, I wouldn't imagine. And Postis looks like he's just lost a position there to Honey Badger. So Honey Badger then up into P2 at the minute, and looking like, is it Marco ahead that's just come out of the pits? Yes, it is. So I wouldn't imagine he'd be able to catch him. And we've got some steam check going on the right side here. Who's that's pitting? And probably Hamish, is it? Yes, it is Hamish.
I think that was Hamish talking to Nicky, his teammate.
Okay, yes, he obviously likes to have a look at his steam when he's in the pits. So looks like they're all taking their final pit stops now. Going to try and do about 10 laps or so. On a set of primes, which is what I said, 8 laps, 9 laps, 10 laps on each set of primes. That's about right. And Klawutzke here, of course, was also taking his final pits. Cool Cat, no, he can't be taking his final pit stops. Cool Cat's yet to pit, so Klawutzke could do a clearing Cool Cat as quickly as possible, because he'll be a lot slower. Cool Cat's tyres will be about 9 laps old, whereas Klawutzke's will be brand new. You can see that big difference in that corner. Despite the dirty air, Klawutzke was gaining on him. You'd think a bit of outbraking, but Klawutzke might be able to do it. No, oh, he's outbraked himself though. Klawutzke's just gone straight off the circuit, and he did not want to be doing that. That's just lost him probably at least half a second, if not more like a second. So, yes, not what he wanted at all. He would have been even better just staying behind Cool Cat there, actually. And Postis is sliding through the chicane. You'd imagine he'll pit. What do you know he won't? Did he pit last lap? 24. So, I think, yeah, he was due to pit. Yeah, on the right hand side, he was due to pit that lap. Obviously decided to stay out and make his last stint a little bit shorter. So, it'll be a 9-lap stint in the last stint. So, that's his choice. 1.8 seconds to Honey Badger ahead. So, Honey Badger, I must say, is looking very strong for this race. He has got another stop to make, of course. But he's certainly in, quote-unquote podium position really at the minute, even though he's in P2. He's looking like on for a solid P3, Justin. What do you think?
Yes, I agree completely. Yeah, I thought I had that inkling that he might be the dark horse in this race, and he has definitely pulled it off, no doubt about it. For many parts of the race, he's had much fresher tires versus the cars around him, and he's done a great job of not doing what Cool Cat did and getting stuck behind somebody for an extended period of time. By the way, I just wanted to say Klawutzke cleared Cool Cat quickly, because that's an amazing sentence. And Cool Cat did pit, by the way. at the end of lap 24. So Klawutzke did actually clear Cool Cat quickly as Cool Cat dove into the pits for his final stop. He's down into 5th position. Now Hamish just breezing by Lucas Schumacher up into 6th position. Magnussen now thinking about having a look at Lucas as well. Is he going to take the inside line into turn number 7? No, he doesn't. So he stays behind, but he is going to get DRS here, of course, after turn number 9 at the top of the hill as we reach what I believe is the high point of this circuit. They're going to be side by side into the heavy braking zone at the turn 10 hairpin, and can Magnussen go around the outside? It looks like he has done so, using that rubbered inline through the turn 10 hairpin to great effect. Pass is now into the pits at the end of lap 25, so he's just got 8 laps to do on a set of these prime tires. And you can see there is quite a bit of cars coming out of the final corner right now. He's definitely going to lose positions to at least one of them, I would think, but no, he is quite far ahead, actually. So Passes exits the pits in 4th position after starting this race from 9th. He's definitely been, you could even call him the darker horse, I suppose, because Passes was out-qualified by Honey Badger, even though Honey Badger was on the prime tires in qualifying, and their Passes is in a comfortable 4th position, and no more pit stops remaining. So it's looking like a pretty good race for both Passes and Honey Badger. Not quite as good as Marco FD and Klawutzke, but still a great race for those two guys. Yeah,
absolutely. So back on more Ycoms here then. So P9, so he's managed to make up a couple of positions, but not as many as he'd like, that's for sure. 3.6 seconds to Fistler. So he's got a few laps. He's got about 8 laps or so, 7 or 8 laps to go. So we'll see if he can close that gap down and take a couple of more points then. And he could do with it really after this shocking start. I mean, he started P6, so you'd think he'd be able to get around there somewhere, but P9 is not what he would have started his day dreaming for, certainly. So back on board with Hamish now. He's back up to P6 then, so he's having a pretty good race. Well, pretty good recovery rather, since of course he dropped out P4. I'm looking at Cool Cat here, trying to look at the inside, trying to break him, which he managed to do. Can he get it all stopped just about? But Cool Cat's going to cut back under him. That's a position back, nice and easy there. Cool Cat showing you how to do a textbook cut back. That's hard to say as well. And just managed to keep the position there nicely. And looks like Nicky FD has retired there. That's an actual retirement rather than a disconnection. So yes, he must have actually just for whatever reason just decided to quit. So perhaps he made a mistake, or perhaps just wasn't happy with the result and just decided to quit out, or perhaps he had to go. I'm not sure what happened in there, but
just.
I mean, he was certainly behind Hamish, but yeah, I'm not sure what position he was in. Hamish trying to come back at Cool Cat now with the DRS. Bouncing off the rev limiter, interestingly enough. Oh, you know what? He didn't save any curves for the end of the lap. Oh, man, and some more exciting lag stuff going on. Of course, Hamish and Cool Cat separated by an entire ocean. There's an entire ocean between the two of them, so no surprise that there's some possible lag issues. As an American driving in a mostly European Codemasters F1 league, I can certainly sympathize with the plight that Cool Cat is going through right now. So he is down into 7th position now. Actually, he lost out to Magnussen in all of that as well. So Cool Cat losing out heavily right towards the tail end of this race. Very unfortunate after starting from 4th position. It was a great qualifying for Cool Cat after winning the race last time out. Let's not forget, everybody, that Cool Cat did win the Bahrain Grand Prix. So it's very unfortunate to see him down into 7th position now. Marco with an 8.2 second gap to Klawutzke. I think he might have this in the bag.
I think you might be right, yeah, just 3 laps left to go, or 4 including this one, I believe. So yes, quite a big gap. He's getting out a couple of seconds on in the last sort of 3 or 4 laps or so. So yes, I think Marco's had the best pace all race, hasn't he? He's now just unleashing that pace and showing Klawutzke who's boss, I think, and making sure he's taking a nice convincing win. Although Klawutzke's got 12 seconds on Honey Badger, I don't mind. So actually Klawutzke is driving a very, very lonely race at the minute. He's sat at a 20-second gap, more or less in the middle of it. So he's probably quite bored right now and can't wait for this race to end. But I mean, he won't mind too much. He's in P2. That's a nice amount of points, 18 points. I'm sure he's certainly take that. Lucas has got a similar sized gap, but right in the last position, so this won't be so much worth it for him. P11, no points at the minute, 8 seconds off Titan of Racing. So we'll see if he can. Oh, is that Nicky? Oh, it's Nicky FD collecting. He already retired, didn't he? So that's not going to make any difference.
Oh, that's him disconnecting.
Yeah. Oh, but actually, I've just noticed Lucas is on the option tyres there. So we'll see if he can make up a bit of a gap. 8 seconds is a lot. And let's not forget, Honey Badger will now be on the option tyres as well. Is he pit? Yeah, he must have pit by now.
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
So he's in P3 at the minute, is he?
Yes.
Yes, of course it was. Yes, he's a big gap. So that gap probably will come down between Klawutzke and Honey Badger. But I imagine that all that will do really is cement Honey Badger's P3. Again, Podium from P8. It's an impressive drive. Hamish here back up to P5, so he's looking at P4. He's not far behind Possis yet. P4, which is of course the position that he crashed out of there. So we'll see if he can make a position up there. Magnussen just behind him though, he will be looking for it to take that position off him, and looks like he gets a great exit, lots of curves. Oh, Hamish squeezing him quite a lot there, it actually takes to the grass. Going to be side by side coming to turn 1, looks like Hamish must have lose lots of curves, pretty much all his curves in fact, if he's pulling away that much. So we'll see if Magnussen with all of his curves can make that position back at the end of this lap. And Honey Badger unsurprisingly takes the fastest lap of the race there.
Yeah, at the very least, I would imagine he's going to be picking up fastest lap of the race here. Yeah, Hamish, again, doing lots of squeezing on the straights. Not a huge fan of that. Would like to see him giving a little bit more room, or at least doing it a little bit slower. You can't just be jerking the car over to the right-hand side like that right as the car is coming up alongside you, unless your intention is to get hit by them so that you can increase the speed of your own car. I have noticed Hamish is using his KERS very aggressively, usually just completely draining his KERS in the first half of the lap, usually coming out of turn 9. He has already completely drained his KERS, and then using lots of KERS as well as he crosses the line. So he's really grasping at straws here. I think he's going to have a hard time keeping Magnussen behind, because Magnussen is using his KERS a lot smarter, saving some coming out of that final corner and everything like that. So Magnussen could be possibly taking that 5th place position off of Hamish. On board with Ycoms now, who is actually closing up on Fizzler. Less than 3 seconds is the gap to Fizzler, with just a couple of laps remaining for them, as they're currently finishing Sector 3 of lap number 31. Marco FD finishing Sector 1 of lap 32 now, with a 7.1 second gap now to Klawutzke. So Klawutzke has really started to push, or Marco has started to lift off a little bit. You can see Marco has one of those mods that adds a little bit more detail to his tires, and you can see there are a number of spots on there, so I do believe Marco's tires are starting to go off, so he might just be taking it a little easier. He may have been pushing harder and, took too much out of his tires, so now he has to lift off. But again, with just over a lap remaining and over 7 seconds between the two of them, I think it's looking like a comfortable win for Marco here. Let's see the gap to Honey Badger. It was 12 seconds when you were talking about it before, Alex. It is now 6.8 seconds. That is a heck of a difference. About 5 seconds gained on Klawutzke has done Honey Badger. That is a fantastic effort from him. Unfortunately, I just don't think there is enough left to this race. We can see Klawutzke using his KERS much smarter. He's got about 40% of his KERS as he comes out of the final corner, and he's going to use that to propel himself down the very long straight. Hamish in the middle of a McLaren sandwich right now. Passes ahead, Magnussen behind, and you can see he's got no KERS. He's got nothing with which to defend. He's going to go up into Rich Mix, but is he going to get DRS off the car ahead? He does, thankfully for him, as he begins the final lap of this race. 0.973 seconds to the car ahead, and even less than that to the car behind. Passes saving lots and lots of KERS. Oh, oh gosh, he's run right off into the gravel. That is really going to be bad news for him, as Hamish is really starting to close in. He's going to have to use lots of KERS, and he's tried to defend the inside line, but Hamish doesn't care. He's coming right through, and he has taken that position up into 4th now for Hamish on the final lap of this race. Passes now going to be coming under attack from his teammate. He's going to have to try and get by Hamish here, or let his teammate try and get by Hamish, but it looks like Magnussen is going to force the issue. No, unfortunately, he didn't get the exit. He's got the most KERS out of everybody, I believe. Magnussen with a full bar of KERS as we're getting ready to finish the 2nd sector of this final lap, and he's going to try and go side by side with his teammate Passes. He's got the DRS using all of that KERS. Now Passes is going to he's just going to hang back. He's accepted the fact that he's going to get 6th position. Marco FD crosses the line to win the race. He tries to do a cheeky little slide across the line, I think. Klawutzke going to come home in a comfortable 2nd position, with Honey Badger really not that far behind, though, at the end, after all things considered. Magnussen, I believe, still has some KERS here, but he has run very deep through into the chicane, and that's actually going to let Magnussen back through. I'm sure he's going to be using all of his KERS now, and he's going to get a little bit of a slipstream, but unfortunately for him, the line is just too close. And Ycoms, in the end, finishes in 8th position, ahead of Titan of Racing, but quite a distance behind Cool Cat, it should be pointed out. Cool Cat finishing in 7th. And there goes Ycoms for, what was probably not a great race for him. I'm sure he's a little bit bummed about that one, especially because Ycoms, if I'm not mistaken, yes, Ycoms took 2nd in Bahrain. Second place now, and a very different result here in Spain. Here's a replay of, the battle between Passes and Magnussen. Oh, and that's where Passes went right off the circuit. Magnussen with that curse and DRS just flies right by. And then Passes, as I mentioned, or Magnussen, excuse me, goes very deep into the final chicane. Passes does the switchback, gets the inside line for the final corner. Magnussen uses the rest of his curves, but unfortunately there's just not enough left. Marco FD in the end winning with a time of 45 minutes and 25 seconds. And what a dominating drive it was.
Yeah, really, really impressive drive there. I mean, I'm not sure to give driver of the day here to Justin. I think Honey Badger might closely take it. I mean, that's mainly because of his strategy more than anything. But I mean, he didn't even need his medium stint at the end. He'd already got the job done. He's already up into P3. So who would you give driver of the day to?
I got to go with Marco. I don't normally just go for domination as far as driver of the day, but just Marco made it look so easy today in his Ferrari. Over 7 seconds was the gap to Klawutzke, so I think Marco probably going to be my driver of the day. But like you said, Honey Badger with a fantastic drive from 8th position, claiming that final podium position ahead of Hamish by 11 seconds. It should be pointed out as well. He was 11 seconds ahead of Hamish. Not a bad day for the McLarens, finishing in 5th and 6th, but that could have been 4th and 5th if they played their cards a little bit better. Cool Cat, I'm sure, is going to be a bit disappointed with 7th position, coming hot off the heels of his win in Bahrain. Ycoms, I'm sure, as well, disappointed with 8th. Fizzler qualified in 5th, finished in 9th, so I'm sure he's not going to be too happy about that. Lucas Schumacher grabbing the final championship position after not even qualifying for him, so that was pretty good, finishing ahead of his teammate Titan of Racing, who did qualify in 10th position. Nicky FD, as we saw, retiring and then disconnecting. Double D not even making it to the grid, meaning it will only be 25 points for Ferrari. They did pick up 25 points, not a bad haul whatsoever, but Double D, of course, could have made that a much better haul. We didn't even get to see what he could do in qualifying. In the Drivers' Championship, Marco FD extending his lead to Hamish, now 101 to 66, a 35-point deficit, while Klawutzke has actually closed up on Hamish, just 3 points separating the two of them. Cool Cat moving ahead of Ycoms narrowly, 47 to 46, so a very close battle for 4th position and for 2nd position as well. Honey Badger not far off either with his podium finish today in Spain, putting himself into 6th position and just 7 points off of Cool Cat in that 4th place position. Passes as well, very close behind. It's very, very tight, sort of between 9th and 4th. 4th to 9th, very, very tight in there, just 17 points separating the two of them. Nicky FD and Double D, neither of them grabbing any points in today's race, so they remain in 10th and 11th respectively. And in the Constructors' Championship, Scuderia Ferrari have actually extended their lead. What was a 4-point gap between Ferrari and Marussia is now a 7-point gap. Not massive. Marussia still very much involved in that title fight, but Toro Rosso in 3rd with 83 points. It's a 26-point gap to Marussia. Red Bull 13 points behind Toro Rosso. McLaren actually tied with Red Bull with 70 points apiece. Caterham now in 6th position with Cool Cat. That's just Cool Cat, let's be honest. This is Cool Cat with 47 points in 6th position for the Constructors' Championship. And Williams still bringing up the rear, 9 points, while Mercedes I don't even think they've been in a race yet. Have they been in a race yet, Alex? Yeah, I don't think we've seen them in a race yet. So I think we might see Mercedes just straight up dropping out of the championship pretty soon. Wouldn't surprise me. So that is going to do it for the Spanish Grand Prix. It was a pretty exciting race, although not so much for Marco and Klawutzke, but it was very exciting in the midfield. Coming up next is going to be Monaco, a very interesting race, very different change of pace. Our first street circuit, sort of. It depends, I guess, if you consider Melbourne a street circuit or not. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again, Alex, for joining me as always. Yeah, it's a good race. Pretty good anyway. So I'm looking forward to Monaco next time out, though. As you said, it's our first street race of the season, and with these aggressive drivers, it'd be interesting to see how they fare at Monaco. See if there's lots of contact, or they perhaps ease it back a bit, because it's Monaco. It's always a dangerous one. So yes, looking forward to it. And it'll be great having Alex with us for the next race, as he is a bit of a Monaco specialist, so it'll be great to have his insight. So make sure you guys tune in next time. Join us for the Monaco Grand Prix. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.